This is Isaac. Isaac is a pearl oyster. He lives in a beautiful bay with his friends. One day, for some unknown reason, he sees his friend Jeff get pulled from the water, opened up and thrown away. He was looking forward to his new life, but now it's wasted. Isaac does not know why they are opening Jeff up and throwing him away. He doesn't have a pearl, Isaac hears the farmers say. Jeff is not a pearl oyster like his other friends. His dream was to one day be served on a plate to a beautiful woman he would one day marry. Instead, he wallows away in a waste bin. Nobody will understand Isaac's sadness. Isaac wants to think of something to stop him and his friends like Jeff from being opened up and killed.
The pearl industry remains to be one of the most lucrative, with a value of $400 million. Yet it's not as easy as picking an oyster and growing a pearl. Before the 1950s, finding a pearl was a big gamble. Pearls were harvested from wild oysters using divers, but they were rarely successful. With less than 10% of oysters containing pearls, it was so hard to find natural pearls that multiple species became endangered or simply wiped out due to pearl hunting. To increase the strike rate and decrease the wasteful impact, a technique known as culturing was developed in Japan. This involved inserting a mother-of-pearl bead into the mantle or gonads of the oyster. The epididymis tissue around the bead would incite pearl growth, and 6 months later, the oysters were checked for pearls, reseeded, and left to grow for another 6 months. Nowadays, 90% of all pearls are cultured, with 40% of oysters producing pearls. Yet, the industry still works with a large loss and wasted margin. In a 20-year study on a pearl farm, over 56 months, only 1,974 oysters from an original batch of 80,000 produced pearls reliably. Of these pearls, only a small percentage were high grade, and many did not even pass the minimal marketable thickness. And so, to maintain the market value, these smaller pearls were thrown. All those pearls and oysters build up into a large economic and sustainability issue. So, what's the solution? Well, first, we need a technology that can monitor the presence of a pearl without harming the oysters. Technologies that cause genetic mutations could kill the oyster, or the pearls produced may have unmarketable formations, such as inconsistent nacre layers. Second, we need a technology to monitor the size of the pearl. This bit can be a bit difficult, due to the same material that forms the pearl also being produced on the cell. Thus, monitoring from the outside of the oyster is quite difficult. Thirdly, it needs to be portable and relatively inexpensive. Finally, it needs to be easy for any person to use and not require a high-level education to operate. With the majority of staff being minimum wage and usually from low education backgrounds, it is important that technology doesn't require a high technical knowledge. Introducing the Pearl Detective. It works simply. A signal transmitter is inserted into the bead, which is implanted into the mantle of the oyster. The matching receiver is implanted into the muscle. This prevents a pearl nacre forming around it. The receiver then detects when the nacre begins covering the bead and sends a message to a computer or smartphone to notify the farmer. From then on, the receiver sends data to track the growth of the pearl. This data can then be used to plan the estimated size of the pearl and time the harvest to produce the best economic turnaround. Oysters that show no signs of pearl formation can be unsewed and sold off for use in the meat industry. With the knowledge, no pearl would be a choking hazard. All this can happen before the standard 6-month mark, meaning the technology can be removed and used in more viable oysters. This way, farmers can track and plan the growth, harvesting and breeding of oysters, all while avoiding wastage and profit loss.